Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good very late night for some of you. I see some people joining from where it is around midnight tonight. Thank you for being here. Thanks for joining. And welcome. If you are new here, welcome. Thanks for joining. If you are one of our regulars, nice to see you as always. And yeah, here we go. So if you have any questions at any point, do start your question with the letter Q, and that helps me see it easier on the screen here. And otherwise, feel free to chat in the chat. What are we doing here? I see a lot of folks that have tuned in for the first time in a while, which is always fun. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for joining. Yeah, we're just here to chat about cameras, live streaming. I have a few new cameras to show you, so we'll take a look at some of those in a second. And yeah, just gonna hang out for an hour and a half or so. Hopefully exactly, in fact. 2 a.m. That is, I'm usually sound asleep at 2 a.m. That is my goal in life. So a couple of early chats. Let's see if the map made it into the show today. Yeah, after last week's show, I realized that the code I use for the map and the comments, it just always runs automatically, so I don't have to like ever manually start or stop it. So it's always pulling the YouTube API, and if I have a stream that's live, it'll start pulling chat messages down. But then I did a couple of 10 and 20 hour live streams just to unlisted videos of 3D prints I was working on for the DJI Mini 2 case. And that code was very excitedly looking for comments on the streams, which obviously was not happening because it was an unlisted stream. And I burned through all my API credits and was getting rate limited messages. And then I couldn't show the comments on the screen last week because it was right after that it stopped. So made some changes. I no longer am looking for comments on unlisted videos. So I realized that also will help. It's happened a couple times when I've done this live stream and then done another live stream from within this stream. If we're like testing something out and I stream to another unlisted video, the comments on there appear in the main video too in my screen, and it's very confusing. So that won't be a problem anymore. So that's nice. And hopefully that also means if I do more unlisted streams for prints, then I won't burn through the API credits. So that's the story. That is the story. Oh, if you are new here and you're wondering why I've locked down the chat to subscribers only, it's not because I'm trying to fish for subscribers. It's because without that, then the spammers like to drive by and just drop in random crap into the chat. So I think it's set to 60 seconds, and that's usually enough to drive them away. So that's the deal. So a couple good questions coming in. Oh, Keith can't tune in, but we'll watch later. Always good to see you here, Keith. Thanks. And Nils. Note to self, never meet with PhotoJoseph, way too expensive for my budget. Yeah, so a few new cameras here, and I have also got them hooked up. So this camera that you're looking at me through now is the BGH1, and I've got the same lens on it, the 12-35 that I normally use in that camera, which until this week has been the LUMIX G7. And so this is the new BGH1. The overhead shot is also a BGH1, and then I've got one on that rig, which is the same one from last week. And 1, 2, 3. Those are the ones that are set up right now. And then I've got more to set up, obviously, here. I have to figure out where they go. So that's what I was up to last week, and I will tell you a little story about how I got those. But yeah, we have a couple other things on the agenda. Oh, my studio is also a complete disaster right now. You can kind of tell from this shot. But actually, you know what? It looks even more chaotic from that shot. You can kind of see everything everywhere. That is still a G7 that I was using for the stream last week. The last week on Wednesday, I think it was, I did a guest stream on B&H's channel on their YouTube and or Vimeo and Facebook and their website, and did a little show and tell on the new SmallRig lights that just launched. SmallRig has a bunch of new these. They're now all around the studio here, but the big COB lights with softboxes and modifiers and stuff. And it was a fun event. I chatted with the folks at B&H, and we went through some of the lights and the features of the lights, and also did some experiments with color, changing color temperatures and lighting this little head that I've got on a stick. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was the recording is available if you want to go watch it, so please do. I will drop this link in the chat, and I got to share my new BGH1 setup for that too. At B&H, there is the video. Oh, Michael, yeah, I had spammers on our stream today. Had time to switch to subscriber mode. It's really just a bummer. It's silly, and they've found a new trick, which is they changed the name of the YouTube account to something with spam in it, like crap, bad language or URLs to spam websites, and they'll change the name of that because then if they do get a message into the chat and you hide the message or put them on timeout, certain types of those responses will still be visible, but the text of the comment is hidden. So they figured out a way to keep their link visible in the chat. It's really annoying. So that's the deal. That is the deal. Okay. Oh, hi to some of the new folks. Dan explaining video game Trickster Travels. I'm new to YouTube. Any advice? My advice is make videos. Not very helpful, but it's true. That is what works. I'm trying to make more videos. Also, that is my goal. Thanks, Eric. I thought the SmallRig stream was good. I appreciate it. And yeah, you can go watch the replay if you want. Okay. Am I streaming at a lower bitrate than usual? Seems like the compression is a bit harsher than usual. No, it should be, but it should be the same. I'm seeing 6 megabits here, and the picture looks fine here, so I don't know. Maybe it's on the viewing end. Sometimes YouTube just drops you down to lower bit rates on the viewer end. The pretty penny this side, I don't even know. That's a lot of whatever currency that is. Yeah, so how many did I buy? Let's talk about these cameras for a second. I got turned on to these cameras by PhotoJoseph a long time ago, pretty much right when they came out, because he had one, and then a few months later he got 4 more. So he has, I think, 5 total in the studio. And I've been eyeing them for a very long time because it seems like they're exactly what I want in a camera, which is network controlled, remote controlled. I don't need a fancy screen on the back because all the cameras I use are always behind screens that I'm looking at. So seemed like great option. They're kind of expensive. They are $2,000 US new. And I knew that if I was going to get one, I would want to get more than one. And $2,000 times anything is a lot of dollars. And I was like, that's just a little bit too much. So that's why I just stuck with the G7s, which I was finding used for about $500 or $600 or so. And but this has always been in the back of my mind. And then ResolveCon 3 weeks ago, beginning of October, he took the 5 cameras from his studio to ResolveCon to shoot that event, and I got a chance to play with them and use them there. And I was like, yeah, this really is exactly what I was looking for. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and see if I can find one used. And I found one used at B&H, $300 less, so $1,700, which is still a lot, but you know, it's a nice chunk of cash to save. And I bought that one, and that was the one I used last week for the stream for the first time, and then on the SmallRig stream. And then after that, I was like, maybe I can find more. So I searched eBay for BGH1s, and I found a suspiciously good deal on eBay for new in-box BGH1s. Suspiciously good deal. This is the listing, and they are listed at $1,450 each, which is $550 less than new, which is a lot. And these are supposed to be new in box. And I was like, this seems too good to be true. What is going on? And it took me a little bit of digging, but I managed to actually look up the seller and figure out who they were, found their personal website, found their phone number, texted the guy, and then we had a Zoom call a couple days later. And the next day, actually, it was Monday, had a Zoom call, and he shared the whole story. I'm not going to get into the whole story here because I do have, I'm actually going to post like a proper video about this. And they are in fact new in box. It's essentially a company that bought them and it can't use them and is trying to recover some of that money because they can't return them anymore. So I was like, okay, if you can drop the price a little bit more, I'll buy 5 of them. I wanted to buy 5 because I already had one. That would be 6 total, which is probably plenty. And then I was talking to Joseph about this, and I was like, hey, do you want another one by any chance? So I picked one up for him as well. And that is why I now have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cameras here. One of them is not for me. One of them is I'm holding off to the side for Joseph. I'm going to send it to him. But I got it at a really, really, really good deal. They were willing to go down to $1,250 each for because I bought 7 of them. They still have more. So if you are interested in getting some at a ridiculous price, I will share this listing with you. And you, it's an eBay listing, but the way that I got these was I was like, I am not really comfortable with the idea of shipping 7 of these in the mail and having to buy insurance, much less deal with insurance claims if something went wrong in shipping. Plus, my apartment building gets packages stolen out of it all the time, and that is a very expensive package for that to arrive in the mail. And they were in LA. The company's based in LA, so I was like, Portland to LA is a really easy flight, and I have a lot of airline miles. So I just booked a ticket with airline miles, flew down in the morning, came back in the evening with a suitcase full of cameras. So I did my own shipping on that, and that was how I got them all. So fun. And I have some little vloggy footage I'm going to put together so you can see how that trip actually went. It was a lot of fun. $1,250 is seriously good. I got mine for 1,500 euros new, and that was already dead cheap. Yeah, 1,500 is also a very good deal. So the listing is $1,450 each. They still have a bunch more. I just didn't. I could have bought more and probably sold them for, you know, on my channel, on my shop for more and made a couple $100 each one, but that just sounds like too much work. So I didn't want to do it. But you can buy them directly from them. If you're buying one, it'll be $1,450. If you buy 3, they drop the price down to $1,377, and they'll ship them out from their store. You can also go pick them up if you want, if you're in LA or can get to LA. And they have a bunch more. I think he said he had like 30 in total. It was a lot. It was a lot of cameras. So, yeah, lucky I didn't have to go through customs. Thankfully, state-to-state travel is extremely easy, and I did not even get a single question about why I had so many cameras in the bag, because, yeah, nobody cares about that here. Going west for cameras. Yep. It was fun. It was a good little trip. Got to visit their office and see the complete chaos. They're downsizing their office, which is also part of the reason they're getting rid of a bunch of stuff. I ended up getting an extra Pelican case from them that they didn't need, and I put all the boxes of the cameras in the Pelican case because it was like a huge one, and that went in the checked. That was my checked bag, and then my roller suitcase was full of just the camera bodies and the little plastic packaging with a bunch more padding and stuff in it, but just the bodies themselves to actually get them all to fit in something that was in my own, that could actually keep on me the whole time. And yes, was I nervous about wheeling around that many cameras through the airport, but I was holding my bag the whole time, so yeah. Oh yeah, plus no sales tax. I live in Oregon. We don't have sales tax in this state. So I literally don't know anything about how it works, or like whether you have to pay sales tax on used gear, secondhand gear in general. I have no idea. I've never had to deal with this. And it's nice. But yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that like if you're buying it in another state new, you're also paying sales tax on it, which is that's a lot. So that's the deal. That's the deal. Do I use them with autofocus or manual focus? If autofocus, are you happy with it? So far, I've only done manual focus. All these cameras are manual. We'll see how I do that with the overhead. The overhead camera is set to manual also. And sometimes I do want to pick something up and show it up here. So right now it's manual, but at least that means if I can remember which number. I need to figure out how to label these better. If I can figure out what one is the overhead, then yeah, that's manual, or it's the one-shot autofocus. Maybe we will put this one in autofocus mode and see how it does. Okay, now it's in autofocus mode. So if I put this down, oh, it's not too bad actually. Yeah, that a little slower getting up there, but not too bad. This is all autofocus. Yeah. Sales tax in the US depends on the receiving address on the invoice. Yeah, because I don't pay sales tax even if I order from something from another state. So, like B&H is in New York and they ship me stuff and I don't pay sales tax on that. Maybe Lily knows about the sales tax. Sounds like a $no question. Yeah, I should ask her. Although I think she's talking about something else today. Let's see. She's got. Oh, maybe this is fair. A fair question for the topic today. Her stream, which we should be set up to go pop over here after we're done here. Money plans when it's scary recession. So that'll be fun. We'll hop over there in like an hour, and maybe I'll ask her about sales tax. I was surprised that you didn't handcuff your bag to your wrist. I know. I seriously was thinking about it. You discussed the camera, but what about the lenses? So they threw in one of the 14 to 42 lenses just because they also had a bunch of lenses and they didn't need them. They're going to probably try to sell the rest of them, but I was like, this is not my favorite lens. I don't really need one. But the reason they got the 14 to 42 lens is because it is power zoom. So it's very small. Focus, there we go. Very small power zoom lens. So when you attach it to the camera, you can remotely zoom it. And that's the reason they got it. So I have this one. This is the only one I got from them. I didn't bother asking them for more. Maybe I could have negotiated for a few more of them being thrown in, but like honestly, it's not a fantastic lens. But it is convenient that it has power zoom. But I haven't bought any new lenses for these yet. So far, I've been just working off of the lenses that I've had. So this one isn't installed yet. This is the 15mm, which is one of my favorites. Not a cheap lens, but you can find them used sometimes. I bought most of my lenses used because I feel like it's a good thing to buy used, and they get kind of expensive. And then this one's, again, I just swapped the G7 lens onto that camera, so that's a 12-35. That one's my 12-60 over on that camera. Oops, on that camera, this one, and I like that lens too. But I've got a bunch of these lenses because they're micro four thirds, and then I haven't decided if I need to buy any new ones since I haven't actually figured out where these are all going to live yet. So we'll figure that out later. I'm going to try to find a bunch of used lenses, though, I think. The BGH1 autofocus doesn't seem bad, says Eric. Yeah, I agree. It's not too bad. I have one of the Panasonic and two of the Olympus 14-42 power zoom. It's also convenient when used with the Blackmagic as it can be remote controlled. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, some interesting notes about the autofocus. Emerald Audiovisual says the BGH1 did get the updated autofocus from the LUMIX S5, so it has a better autofocus than the GH5S, even though it has a GH5S sensor. Yep, and that is why I liked using the Sony for the overhead, was because the autofocus is really good on the Sonys. That reminds me, 2 of the cameras are now posted on my used gear shop. These 2 I am definitely selling. Here's the link to my used gear. So we've got the Sony a6400, which was my overhead. I am selling that one. I'm also including the power adapter for it and the little bracket on the bottom. And also not pictured because it was in a different place is the 16-50 lens that comes with the camera. So that's all included in that bundle. And then the GH5S, I like this camera so much, but I just don't need it anymore. The GH5 Mark II is the one that I'm using as my B-roll camera and handheld for photography and stuff. Really like this camera, but I think it's time to sell it. So you can get that at a good deal too. And that will be one of the BGH5s, BGH1s that I bought. We'll cover one of them. And yeah, for complicated reasons that I will not get into, this was actually a 2020 December purchase, even though I've had a GH5S for a couple of years before that. So good deals. If you want those, I will ship them out tomorrow if you want them. No, my overhead was the Sony A6400. The other cameras were all the G7s. Is the 16-50 the one I use when I use it as the overhead? No, I was using a combination of, I had a 30, I think it was a 30 millimeter for a while fixed. And then I had just switched it over to, let me see if I can find it. The one that it was in most recently was a 28-70 zoom. And that was the one that was in the cameras since August. And I like that lens actually, 28-70. But the 16-50 is the one that comes with the camera when you buy it in a full kit. Okay, question about how I'm powering these. So Nils says, how do you power the cameras? And MT is correct. PoE. That is one of the big advantages here. Even just swapping out those two, the main and the overhead, I was able to get rid of so many USB adapters on the floor. So it has now, the cameras just have 2 cables going in. There's the SDI out, which feeds directly into the SDI switcher. Then there's the Ethernet for network control and power. So it means the little overhead, the overhead rig is actually not a lot of cables in bulk up there because it's just the 2 slim cables, and I don't have to have so many power bricks everywhere because it's just powered off my network switch. Super, super cool. And great for the studio. The If you do your shopping in Vancouver but show an Oregon ID, they'll take off the tax. I haven't gone to Vancouver in a long time. In California, no matter where you live, they charge sales tax. Yeah, SDI, also big plus for not having dozens of converters. Exactly. Now I have even more converters that I don't need in that rack. Congrats, Philip says, congrats on the new BGH1 collection. You probably already know about updating the firmware if needed. Yeah, I've only updated the firmware on the first one, and I was scrambling to put these two up right before the show, so I haven't done that yet. But that's next on the list. There was a question earlier about that. Where was it? Nope, lost it. Does the BGH1 record externally B-RAW? It has a, what is it called? It has a mode for doing raw HDMI out. I don't remember the exact name of the format or how that works or what recorders it works with. I believe the Atomos stuff works with it. I don't really do that. I don't need to do that, so I haven't bothered to figure it out yet. If you go into the menu, you can turn on, let's see if I can find it. You can, oh my gosh, I don't know how to navigate where these things are yet. There it is, HDMI raw data output. So you can turn that on. Again, I don't know the exact details of what that is or what can receive it, but you know who does know is PhotoJoseph. So I will drop his channel into the chat because he has all the details. ProRes RAW using Ninja V. Good. Some of you know. That's great. BGH1 can record RAW externally in ProRes RAW on the Atomos and B-RAW on the Video Assist. Oh, cool. It does work with the Video Assist. That's good to know. Did not expect that. The Vancouver, Canada, or Vancouver, Washington. I haven't been to either that much, frankly, but Vancouver, Washington is just over the river, and I have basically no reason to go there because it's usually the other way around. People who live in Vancouver come to Portland to shop without sales tax, and Vancouver, Canada is cool. I just haven't been there in a while. When I shop stuff in the US where I need a US address, I use a forwarder in Oregon to avoid sales tax. Maybe don't admit to that. I don't know how legal that is. Fun story on the GH5 too. It can also be added the same way as the BGH1s when using a USB-C to Ethernet adapter, just can't PoE power it. It's the only regular Panasonic body with that feature. I just saw that. That is very cool. Maybe I will take advantage of that at some point since yeah, interesting. What PoE switch do I use? Am I likely to hit a limit on that? Good question. I need to add that up. But I'm using the Unify PoE switch. It is running quite a lot of the gear in the rack, actually. I believe it's a 40, what was it? 40, I think I can show my network gear without revealing anything. 48 PoE is the switch. Right now it says it is using 34 watts of PoE. And let's see, here's the little stats on it. I've got, these are the two of the cameras. I think that's the other one. No, that's the hyperdeck. I think that's the other one. So I've got 3 cameras and a hyperdeck. Oh, that's less stuff than I thought was being powered over that. Weird. Some of the other hyperdecks must be in non-PoE ports because some of these ports are, only half of them are PoE. Yeah. And then these ones over here are not PoE. So I'm guessing this is accidentally where I plugged in a couple of the hyperdecks. These two are the cameras, and they're using 8 watts each. Interesting that the hyperdeck uses more than the cameras. That one's only 4. So where's the other? That's suspicious. I definitely have 3 cameras being powered over Ethernet right now. Why would one camera be using half the energy? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Interesting. Anyway, 8 watts each camera is what I should budget. And the USW48 PoE, what is the capacity on that? it says it can handle 195 watts total, which is a lot. That's a lot of watts. 195. So I could put 24 cameras on here in theory. That's good. So I'm not going to run out of power. Cool. The other questions about the PoE before I move on, because I see some questions about the 4ME. Oh, one other, imagine using the Blackmagic Pocket camera. That would be expensive. Yeah. I had one, I sold it. It's a nice camera. It's just not exactly what I want for the studio. So, I don't like its remote control as much as I like the Lumix remote control. So the, that was one of the other things I was disappointed about. I was hoping that the remote control integration with the ATEM would be more useful to me, and it turns out it wasn't, because it's not like with the Lumix cameras, you can navigate the full menu of the camera with the remote software, and that means you can actually change a lot of setting, like literally any setting. And that's not how the Blackmagic one works. The Blackmagic camera, you only get the control from the ATEM software control, so shutter speed, zoom, color grading. You do get the good color grading tools, power zoom if you have a power zoom lens, but you can't go into the menus of the camera. So when looking for a switch, it's important that it supports PoE+. The plus is important, yes, and also plus if you have some of those, some devices with plus. I actually have a couple of network switches that are PoE powered that then also do PoE out. So it requires PoE++ on the input, and then it provides 4 PoE+ on the outputs to power cameras. And those are really good for the security cameras that Unify makes. I just got by another 17 cameras from that company on eBay to hit the PoE limit. Yep. How often do you realistically need to go into the menus, though? It totally depends on what you're doing. And in many cases, you don't. Because in a lot of cases, you'll just set it and forget it. Or you'll do the configuration on one camera and then clone the settings to the rest of them. Or sometimes you just don't, because you have people running the cameras who can change the settings. But for me, in this studio, it is super handy, because if I have, my camera is literally behind that teleprompter, so I can't reach it. And if I'm sitting here and I want to be like, oh crap, I don't like the way this shot's looking, or oh, I forgot that I was doing a different project, and I don't know, what would I have changed? The exposure mode, or the let's see, white balance is not a good example. Maybe audio settings. Right, where I was like, oh, I don't have, I need to plug in a microphone, or I have a microphone that's left there that I need to then, change the audio on off or whatever, like the mic socket between line and mic. That's something that I would totally imagine at some point is going to happen, and definitely can't do it live if it's sitting behind there, and it's also kind of awkward to get around there. It's kind of tight. I don't know if you can tell. I'm right up against the wall. I think I might rearrange things in here again, because I'm still not exactly happy with it. The time to sell some converters. Yeah, we'll see. I might have a lot of them. There are now 7 sold on eBay, but still says 10+ available. I noticed that. I just refreshed the page. It looks like some of you have bought them. That's fantastic. They do have a lot. They have, oh, now it says 10 available, not 10+. 7, 14. They said they shipped a couple. So I think he said he had 30 though. Oh, some of those were used. So these are all new in box, literally unopened. Although, sorry, Joseph, I opened yours to get it home. I couldn't get it back here in the box, but I'll put it back in the box. They had a couple more open box ones too, so if you want to write to them, you might be able to get a deal on those too. A friend of mine bought a bunch of used cameras at an estate sale and is killing it on eBay. Camera prices are ridiculous. I guess some resellers are buying them and refurbing and relisting. Yeah. You should be able to control the BGH1 from Companion too. I'm going to try to figure that out. Yep, I'm definitely going to try that. Emerald says the 3 LUMIX cameras that support BRAW are BGH1, S1H, and BS1H. That's the box version of the S1H. BGH1 is the cheapest Netflix approved camera. That's cool. Not that I'm ever going to be doing anything that goes on Netflix. Okay, a couple of questions about the ATEM. Whenever the 4ME comes in, are you going to sell the 2ME or keep it? The 2ME I'm using right now is actually not mine. It is actually on loan from DVE Store. So I ordered the 4ME from them. Obviously, it doesn't exist yet. So I was like, hey, can I borrow the 2ME in the meantime? And they were nice enough to let me do that. So it's on loan. And as soon as the 4ME comes, I'm going to ship that back to them. And then I'll finally get the 4ME in. So I haven't heard any official news about the 4ME, although actually that's not true. This is about as official as it gets. I haven't heard any official news about the shipping the 4ME, but I did see that on the Blackmagic website, just last Friday, 3 days ago, they did an update to the ATEM switchers, ATEM software control, which adds support for the ATEM Constellation 4ME, which is a very good sign because that suggests to me that they have in fact finished the manufacturing and QA process of the hardware, did some testing, got an update out for the software, and are hopefully going to now start shipping these out to people who ordered them. So cross your fingers, might actually have the 4ME in here soon. I'm very excited about that because I have in fact run out the inputs on my 2ME, and I was like this close to putting the TVS HD back in the rack because I used to run the Extreme into the TVS HD, and then that was adding in the 2 downstream overlays, so the chat and the HyperDeck, and which I don't use nearly enough. I need to remember to do that. We're gonna run a stinger when I switch topics. But yeah, I was thinking about like, okay, well, if I wanted to free up 4 of my inputs, I could do that by running those graphics out from the separate device, because it's not like the Constellation has internal recording anyway. But now I think I'm not going to bother with that because the 4ME is probably coming. Support for 4ME is reassuring. Looks like maybe Blackmagic has parts now. Yeah. Michael asks, other than the obvious number of I/O ports, are there any odd advantages of the 4ME? Yes, there are. And that is one of the things I'm really excited about, which I was really disappointed to not have if it doesn't exist as a product. So obviously, twice as many inputs, outputs, but it also means twice as many of the graphics stuff. So DVEs, keyers, multi-views, super sources, all that. So 2 super sources, for example, which is, I don't even know what I'm going to do with that. That's a lot. This is the super source layout, and I have macros and stuff to change to other layouts. So like if I can press a button on the Stream Deck here and switch it to the, change the input that goes into that super source, but also it resizes it. See how the screen actually changes aspect ratio? And that's because the iPad screen is this ratio, not 1920 1080. So when I share stuff from the iPad, it's showing you the Apple TV right now. But when I screen share the iPad, it is that ratio, and I want to change it when I'm sharing a computer screen. So I guess now I'll be able to just have both of those active all the time and then just cut to them instead of changing the layout on the fly. We'll see. Maybe I'll find something else clever to do with it. But the other really cool thing that the 4ME has, which is the ability to extract the audio from each of the inputs into a digital audio mixer. This is called MADI. So you get 32 of the 40, so not all of them, but 32 of the 40 sources. You can push them out to 32 channels in a rack mixer. So, or any mixer that supports MADI. So I have the X32 rack, which is big version of the X, what was it? X Air, no, MR18, XR18, MR18. And it's a bigger version of that with more inputs, but it supports MADI with a little add-in card that you get. So my plan is I will be able to grab audio from any of the sources in the ATEM, and then they will show up as channels in the mixer, which I can then mix. So I'm obviously using this mixer for, very well right now. I've got literally one microphone plugged in. It's mostly because I'm just waiting to be able to set this up. But imagine being able to say like, oh, channel 2 is one of your hyperdecks that's coming in on ATEM input 12. And channel 3 is your guest coming in over a streaming bridge or over the Magewell ProConvert. So I can have audio from those other sources coming into this mixer where I can actually mix it properly, add, do better EQ, effects, delays, whatever that maybe isn't possible to do on the ATEM itself. So I'm excited about that. And that is one of the weird additional features of the 4ME. Yeah, that's cool. I have a couple SDI audio extractors to do that, and it's kind of a pain. I did not want to go that route. Yes, because that also adds up, because those things are not exactly cheap either. X32 rack is an X32, but in a rack. Yes, yeah. The X32 mixer is so lonely, waiting for the Constellation 4ME to ship. It's true. It's doing a lot of hard work right now, processing audio from one microphone. It's not true. I actually have... No, that is true. Because my other microphone goes into the camera, so then it comes over HDMI. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting behind. Wait, before I go back to more questions, I'm going to run the stinger and talk about the Instream stand. I finally got the better screws, so I can show you how this works better now. This is the stand, the PK1 stand for the Instream. Instream is YoloLive's vertical streaming device. I've done a couple of videos on this already on the channel, so feel free to take a look at that. But essentially what this is it is a Android device that runs the Instagram app, but it has multiple HDMI inputs. So you can plug in good cameras, turn them sideways, and then the Instagram app doesn't know there's multiple cameras. You can just switch to them. So very cool. But you might notice that it's kind of awkward to mount this to anything because you have to do it vertically. If you use it flat on the table, it's super hard to see it because then you're at the wrong angle. And you can't just like set it up anywhere. You can, but it's very fragile. So there are tripod screws on the left and right, which means if you were to put a tripod head into it or one of these little things, you're like just dangling off the side. So what we did was designed two things. One is a bracket that goes and wraps around the whole thing and gives you a new tripod screw on the back that you can then screw into if you want to hang this from a stand like that. Now it's hanging from the middle, which is a lot better. And then the other thing is this to turn it into a desktop stand. Let me get the cameras out of the way. This, now that I've got the proper screws on here, because this was my prototype of it, these little screws will slot in to the stand, so it'll just hang there. And now it's at a nice angle to actually use. And let's see, do I have a, maybe you can kind of tell from this angle. It's actually, at a usable angle now instead of trying to look over it. So that's very nice. And this stand is available, of where you would expect to find it at PK1.tv, which I will drop the link in the chat. And this is where you can find all sorts of other good stuff. So nice photos of it too. Oh, and I should probably redo these photos because these are the wrong screws. The proper screws are the black screws. But that's, yeah, there's the hanging it off of the, like a light stand or a tripod. So yeah, there you go. That is what I wanted to share because the screws that I got, that I had in the studio when I printed the prototype were not the right ones and I couldn't get the right photos. Thanks, Eric. The stand looks good. The studio is back in full glory. Yep, and it's about to come all apart again. It's actually a disaster in here. I just hit it with camera angles. I need some side lighting to kill the harsh lighting on the overhead view. Yeah, it is a little bit, it's not ideal. One of the problems is the overhead view has the light from the back of me making that shadow. And if I turn that off, you'll see what I mean. That's without that one. So this is the, oh, autofocus, there we go. So this is the two side lights. I do have it set a little bit more moody in here than I normally do just because it is spooky week. So we'll tweak that later. Why didn't they enable rotating in the YoloBox Pro? Because a couple of things. Because it actually runs the real Instagram app, and the YoloBox Pro is like its own app that runs on Android. So the YoloBox Pro, that what you're looking at when you're interacting with it is their own app. And then the way that it works on the Instream is it has like a small view, which is like the Android OS with the app launcher and things like that. And then around that, the is the Instream software. So it is it's essentially running two pieces of software at a time rather than one. The YoloBox Pro, why didn't they just add the little Instagram view to that? I don't know exactly. Honestly, I do kind of feel like it makes more sense to keep it totally separate, even though it is a separate device to buy, just because it's they work completely different ways. They work completely different ways. Have I seen the YOLO Max? I sure have. I have a video about it. Where is it? I actually did a video about it a while ago now. Here is my video about the YoloBox Max. It is. Oh, they actually did an update to that, which I need to install. The update to the YoloBox Max makes it work the exact same way as the Instream now. It's like running the same software, just on a giant screen. So that'll be cool. We have those mini pumpkins all over the house talking about Spooky Week. I got these from the pumpkin patch after biking there. My 7-year-old daughter's over my shoulder and saw them. Now she wants them. Do I have an affiliate link for pumpkins? No, but they are very cute. You can find them at your local grocery store. I think they were $2. Okay, I am looking for more comments about... Do I have a stream deck button for the links that come in so quickly in the chat? No, but you're like 3 seconds behind. So when I type something in chat, it shows up what looks like 3 seconds earlier than when I say it. So if it's by the time I've actually hit enter, here, let's do this. I'm going to type enter in the chat and I'm going to press enter now. And then you'll eventually see it, or you guys, you saw it already before, you saw it in the chat before I said it. So that's the like 3 second delay. Maybe it's 2 seconds, I don't know. They have the YOLO Max at NAB Vegas. Yeah, it is huge. I was thinking the eBay seller should give Aaron an affiliate link for the remaining games. Oh my God, wait, you're right. I have an affiliate link for eBay and I haven't been using it. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I should have sent you an affiliate link for these. Okay, I'm gonna find this because there's somewhere I have a way to get an affiliate link for eBay. I just don't often link to eBay stuff, so I haven't. It's not like in my normal rotation of affiliate links. Oh man, I just missed out on a bunch. Oh well. How do I eBay affiliate? Maybe later. Yes, I am tired of passwords. I don't want to enroll Face ID right now. Oh, wow. They're like, oh, cool. Let's show you how everything works. Got it. Create a link. Aha. Here's how we can do it. Single address, generate link, simple link, shorten the link. Here is the affiliate link. Oh, well, affiliate link for eBay camera listings. Please use this one. There you go. Well, that was, now I feel silly. Oh, well. There is the link. There is the link. How do you select which audio sources? Oh, this is a question about how MADI and the ATEM work. Yeah, from Nathaniel, can you explain more about how MADI routing works on the ATEM? I can't yet because I've never done it because I don't actually have the ATEM for me yet, but I've looked at it a little bit and not sure I understand it enough to explain it yet. So I will explain it once I get it all set up. But the MADI card goes into the expansion slot of the mixer, and then you go into the interface to choose to map them. And there are some limits that like works in groups of 8. And obviously we've only got 32 MADI out from the ATEM rather than the 40 inputs. So I have to choose which 8 to not route. So we'll see how it goes, but there's gonna be some little weird things like that, but I'm still pretty excited about it. Yeah, they show up in the mixer like other analog inputs. All right, let's take some of these other questions because I've been ignoring some of them. I haven't, just trying to keep it somewhat organized. Do I see Blackmagic coming out with an ATEM Constellation 4K video anytime soon? Love the feature set of the Constellation HD, but it's missing 4K. It's an excellent question because they do have the 8K, which is also a 4K Constellation or switcher. I don't know what to expect, but if we look at what happened last time, these ones came out of nowhere, but these ones came out right on schedule as expected to replace the similar tier versions of the older style, which aren't any, actually, yeah, here they are. These are the older light gray. So now these ones, I would probably expect at some point to see a replacement for these that are Constellation 4Ks, but they've barely been able to get the Constellation HD for me out because of all the parts shortages going on. So I wouldn't expect to see this anytime soon. And also, these are still fine. They're just missing some of the new features like Fairlight audio. But the Constellations don't have streaming or recording like the Minis do anyway. So it's not like it's I don't know how much of an actual upgrade this would be, right? It makes sense. I would expect to see it at some point. Oh, the scalers or the frame rate converters on all the inputs. Very welcome addition to the Constellation line, but not exactly something you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to go replace my 4ME 4K for $7,000 for the new one or whatever, right? So I don't know. I would not expect to see it anytime soon. I think that they even have to raise the price on this because of how difficult it is to get parts and stuff. So I wouldn't hold my breath, I guess is what I'm saying. So that, yeah. Okay, let's do some rapid fire questions. I'm gonna scroll back and take some of the earlier questions. I see a lot of MADI chat going on, so that's cool. But I probably won't come back to that. Eric says it's hard for one person to keep up with this chat channel. 135 viewers, and Aaron's doing all the work. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Do like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We've got. Oh, do you think it's a good time to check Lily's setup for her stream? It seems like it all worked fine the last time. It's a little bit early. She's probably not starting to go live yet, so I wouldn't expect to see her channel live. But I don't have any texts from her either, so far so good. Hopefully, all of the gear is working as expected. Okay. Rapid fire Q&A. I'm going to use my stinger more. Mark earlier says, what's the best setup for 4 cameras for live streaming and the ability to auto switch the 4 inputs based on motion? Ooh. And also have all 4 cameras recording to disk. That is a tough one. The based on motion is, I think, I don't know of anything that's going to do that really well. If you use an ATEM Mini, any ATEM, but ATEM Mini is a good one for 4 cameras because it has 4 inputs. You can have an auto switch based on audio. So if you have on-camera microphones or have run special microphones into each camera, you can have an auto switch based on audio using the Mix Effect app on iPad. I have done a video demo of that. It's not exactly a tutorial. If you search for, AFV, no. That one shows my YoloBox for some reason. YoloBox does it too, but you don't get 4 cameras on that, obviously. Mix Effect, video follows audio is what I titled the whole timestamp. Video follows audio demo. To find that, I just searched my own timestamps for Mix Effect, and I'll drop that link in the chat too. This is a cool little feature. If you go to aaronpk.tv/timestamps or scroll down to the timestamp link, then you can search through all the chapter timestamps in my live streams. So here's all the times I've mentioned Mix Effect and done little demos of it in lives, which looks like it's been a while, so I should probably do that again. But this is when I chatted with Adam, the developer of Mix Effect, and we actually demoed that live. The reason I say that's probably the best bet right now is because I don't know of anything that can do auto switching based on motion that talks to an ATEM. Obviously, motion detection is not super hard, but that's usually going to be in security cameras, and I don't know how to get those to talk to each other. Thanks for the question. Live Video Solutions. Looking for a solution to receive an RTMP stream and convert to HDMI. Want to receive an external camera that can send over RTMP. I do have a recommendation for you. If you, again, search my timestamps for ProConvert, then I've demoed that a couple of times, and it looks like it's been a while, so we should probably do this again. The ProConvert, I know I've mentioned it recently in more live streams, but apparently I haven't mentioned it in a way that I timestamped it. But the whole idea with this is, in fact, how can I set up a thing to receive RTMP? So I was doing this from the YoloBox, where, and I actually do this quite a lot, where I will stream from a YoloBox or an ATEM or a camera in my studio to myself over the network, either because I get a handheld camera that way, or I'm trying to test the gear. The ProConvert is great for that. Let me search for an affiliate link for that. I should be able to also search my affiliate links. That is not working for some reason. It's interesting. Hopefully this one is working. They make a few, I think their search is down. That's great. I should have a link in that video. That's what you can do. Go follow that link to the video I just linked. What just happened? Oh, weird. YouTube does this weird bug where if you are in YouTube Studio and you click a link to youtube.com, it takes you to studio.youtube.com, which is not what the link was. If you search, if you go here, there's probably a link to the ProConvert down here. There it is. Major Well ProConvert. I will drop that in the chat. Oh God. What? That's not a link I want to put in the chat. Good thing it didn't let me do that. It it gave me the full on YouTube tracking URLs stuff. Okay, here we go. This my tool for this is down, which is why this is so complicated. YouTube controller has all kinds of bugs. Yes, they really do. How do you generate the timestamps on the live stream topics? Are you automating it or doing it manually? It's mostly manual with a couple of little tools to help. What I do is after the stream, I go to my little admin page, which shows me it shows me the timestamps that all of the questions I ask. I guess it's not really a secret link. It shows me what this is doing it live. So this is this video right now. Whenever I put something in chat, it grabs the timestamp and the link and puts it here. And every time I click on a question, it shows the timestamp of the question. And what I do is after the show, I go through this and I scroll through and I'm like, okay, I can see we were talking about BGH1s, which means I will find the next time we stop talking about BGH1s. And let's see, that was still BGH1s. Here we go. So 4042 is when I switched over to the Constellation 4ME. I will put that timestamp manually in the description. So it's a bit of a manual process, but I have tools to help. I don't have to watch the video back for the most part. This is also one of the reasons I try to keep the questions grouped by topic so that the timestamps are somewhat logical. That is my secret. Okay, that was Drew says, what's the easiest way to bring a remote guest into the YOLO cam? You mean YoloBox Pro? It has a remote guest feature in it, and very, very, very cool feature. It just works now. So I think I did a demo of that. Did I demo it specifically or not? If not, I should. Oh, yeah. Okay, it was in my recap or summary of new features in the YoloBox. So this is about best new features of the YoloBox Pro. And I talked about remote guests in there. But yeah, it's just built in. It's great. Brian asks, trying to set up a VPN with WireGuard. Could any computer on the network control any other computer? Now only the one with the LAN on the barrel can control others. VPN stuff is just really hard to set up. But yes, it should be possible. What might be happening is that the way that the GLINet, the barrel router, works with WireGuard is it has a lot of defaults, and some of the settings in the VPN will make it so that the clients can't talk to each other. There is a way around that. You may have to go into the manually set up the WireGuard config. So that's again, it's going to be searching a lot of documentation to find the right incantations to put into the WireGuard config, but it should be possible to do that. Any news about the Roland P20 HD Instant Replay with BitFocus Companion? I have not heard anything. I know some people are interested, but it just takes a lot of work to develop those. So if anybody wants to volunteer, they're usually pretty receptive to people implementing those features for Companion. Peter asks, I'm sure in one of your live shows you talked about how to set up your pre-show, especially via Stream Deck. Has it changed at all? That is actually one of the things that has changed the least. That's fascinating. What I do is I have a I have a few buttons on companion here, which are the, let's show you the overhead view. Exposure is not quite right on this, but at least the focus is. I have a pre-roll button, which switches to a thumbnail and starts the countdown. And then I have a map button, which switches over to, or tells my overlay software to run the map. And I have a start a table button, which does the stinger and then enables the audio. Oh, and yeah, the pre-roll button also stops the table mic from going, which is that button. And those honestly have not changed much at all. And that is how I've been opening the show for a long time. Maybe I should change it up, but it works. So I don't know. Drew, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it very much. Oh, that was your question about the YoloBox. Thank you for the super chat. We are making progress on the questions. Dave says, thanks for joining, Dave. Sorry I didn't get to your question earlier. That's just how it goes. Can you suggest a way of live streaming 3 motorsport cameras, 1 per car, into an ATEM Mini Pro and then uplink to YouTube? Using Mevo cameras, maybe. Interesting. Depending on the range and line of sight situations, you may actually have luck with wireless HDMI transmitters because they do have decent range as long as you're not blocked by things. So if you're going around a hill or something, it's not going to work. But that is an option. And then the receiver can go right into the ATEM Mini. Other options like Mevos definitely can work. The challenge with the Mevos is that it is a full system. So you can't get individual Mevo cameras fed individually into the ATEM. You would have the Mevo, you'd use the Mevo software to do the switching between cameras. It would output over RTMP, and you could use the ProConvert, Major ProConvert, for example, to receive that feed and go one input into the ATEM Mini. So that means the Mevos would then be, oh, actually, now that I say that out loud, if you only need 1 camera per car, then the Mevo cameras, they kind of make their own like Wi-Fi network between them. So you need to make sure there's Wi-Fi connectivity between all the cars because they would all be talking. Or if you did 1 Mevo to 1 ProConvert and did a bunch of those in a row instead of using the multicam, you could do that, and then they would need a connection to a cell network. So put a cell phone in the car or I think, do they work with USB modems? Now I don't think so. I think they have to go over Wi-Fi to a little puck. Interesting problem though. I think a lot of the different, I gave you like 3 or 4 options. Some of them are not going to work depending on the layout of the track that you're of the course. So that's going to be your main limiting factor. Randy, thank you for the super chat. Since you're not getting affiliate from the eBay purchase, I appreciate it. Oh, we have some more suggestions for Dave's sports car. Yeah, definitely a couple other ways to do it for sure. GoPro can output to RTMP. I will say I'm extremely frustrated with the GoPro's RTMP streaming feature. I feel like it is not very well built, and they do not seem to be very interested in that feature. So I don't know if I would recommend it. You could try it. It might work. Again, that would be a GoPro doing RTMP streaming to a Major ProConvert. So definitely take a look at the... Apparently I should do a proper video about the ProConvert because I keep mentioning it and it's a very useful feature. Let me just show really quick what it looks like because it is relevant. Where did that link go? I think it's this one. Yeah. Let me drop this in again. Magewell ProConvert. So this little device, it looks like, oh no, the link is the Amazon listing is gone. What happened? Oh, it's because I think they're dropping the non-NDI versions. So let me make a link for this one and give you that link. But so the way this works is there's a couple of variations of the device: NDI, non-NDI, HDMI, and SDI. So it's I think they're getting rid of the non-NDI version of this, and that means just get the NDI because it's not only NDI; it just also supports NDI. And then if you want SDI out to a SDI switcher or HDMI out to an HDMI switcher, that's what will determine that, obviously. Here's the better link for ProConvert. And this is, yeah, it's not cheap. It's like $425. I feel like it used to be $399. But the whatever. Oh, it's because the NDI version, because they have to pay the NDI license for it. That's probably why it's a little bit more than the other one. But once you get one, and it has a web interface that looks like this, and here is mine. So it hops onto your network, and then you can go configure stream keys for it. So you can add all sorts of different kinds of sources. You can do NDI, you can do RTSP, you can have it pull from an RTMP server if you are like pushing to Nginx or something that has like a middle camera to Nginx, and then you can pull from Nginx to the ProConvert. But that's not how I use it. I use it over RTMP push, where this is the RTMP server, and then you can put in this IP address and the stream key into things like a YoloBox or a GoPro or your LUMIX camera on your iPhone or a GH5S or a GH5 Mark II that has RTMP streaming. And you can also do SRT and stuff over this. So very handy little device. I normally use it in RTMP push mode, and that means this is a stream key. I don't know why it's telling me 127.0.0.1 here, but what I can do is I can put in that IP address 10.11.77.7, and if I'm on my network, the RTMP address for this device is that IP address /live/ here's the stream key, and then I can stream anything I push to this will just pop out the SDI port. It's super cool. So I honestly, I use it all the time. It's basically exactly what I wanted the ATEM streaming bridge to do. The ATEM streaming bridge is very similar, except it only works with ATEMs and web presenters. So Emerald saying, yes, it was replaced with the NDI version. Okay, cool. Other good tips about the GoPro. It needs internet to start the stream. It contacts the mothership, and its RTMP is dynamic. The DJI Action 3 is a better choice. Fixed bitrate can be set. Ah, cool. Yeah, I haven't used the Action 3 yet. But I will say, yeah, the GoPro is kind of a pain to use that streaming feature. But a YoloBox, back to the car topic, a YoloBox and a camera inside each would work. Raul also suggested that. So the advantage of the YoloBox is you can put a SIM card into it directly. And any HDMI camera, you could run a GoPro HDMI out into that if you really wanted to use GoPros. Some other problems with that, but I have a recent GoPro video you can go look at. It talks about that. This would work for sure. Another suggestion from Peter was cellular and use Video Ninja. Not sure I'd recommend that, only because that really means you're going to end up with a computer in the car, which is probably a bad plan. Mark says, act soon HDMI transmitters that says 1,000 feet. I think that's honestly a really good option. Again, it's 1,000 feet, but that requires line of sight. If you have anything in between, it's going to drop a lot. So I would expect like 300 feet if you're going to have the outside of the car in the way, for example. It probably clip the signal quite a lot. I haven't actually done any testing of it inside of a car, but I would not expect 1,000 feet once you put it inside of the car. And then if you're ever going around other stuff, or if you have other cars in the way blocking the signal, it'll mess up too. But I think that if it does work for the layout, like if you can have the receivers like high up, so you're looking down at a track or something, or put them on a 20-foot pole so you can get the receivers way up away from stuff. I think that's a good option because it's going to be the least fiddly. Whereas any kind of hardware device in the car will require someone to poke buttons at it at some point, right? So YoloBox is probably a pretty good option because once you hit go live, you don't really need to touch it anymore. YoloBox Mini especially. GoPro or even a DJI Action, if they for whatever reason like stop streaming, or if the power cable gets bumped, then like you're not gonna be able to restart unless you get someone to touch it manually. Whereas the Axoon HDMI transmitter, if it's powered up, it just starts transmitting. So I think that's another thing to think about too. So yeah, there's some ideas for you. Oh, Michael says Video Ninja has a custom Raspberry Pi image that supports headless. I did not know that. That is very cool. That is very cool. Yes, we do need an API for the YoloBox. I've been asking them to add OSC support. Anybody who's interested should also write in about that. Philip, run SDI to each car for the best quality. Yeah. Oh, Michael says, I've tested cellular at the Portland Raceway during an event and it's not usable. Once you have an audience there. Point-to-point wireless is best. Yep. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think the wireless HDMI is probably a good option. Cool, making progress, 13 minutes left. Before we head over and talk about budgets with Lily. Here's a question. If I'm starting a live streaming production company with $3,000, what gear would you buy first? Ooh, budgets. Speaking of budgets, $3,000. So if you, I guess one of the questions would be, do you have camera operators or not? Because if you don't have camera operators, then it's going to change the kind of cameras and lenses and tripods that you need, I guess. The LUMIX G7s, which is what I've been using on this live stream up until today, when I switched over to BGH1s, you can find those for like $500 or $600 with a kit lens, and they're decent. Spend more money on a lens and you'll do better in low light. I'm not saying they're the best camera by any means, but at $600 each, that's a pretty good price. The other option around that price point is to find camcorders with, because those you can usually find cheaper camcorders that also have clean HDMI out, and those can also work better in less good lighting than some of the cheaper other options. It's not a bad option if you're really stretched on the budget there and want like 2 or 3 cameras, but that's already going to take up half the budget. And then with the other 1,500 or 1,400 that's left, probably the ATEM Mini, the 4-input one, because you can do quite a lot with that with 4 cameras and or 3 cameras and graphics of some sort, for example. And that would come out to about the price, about $3,000. I'm thinking 3 cameras, if you shoot for $500 or $600 each, that gives you $1,200 left. The ATEM Mini dropped in price. The HDMI version did. So it is now, what was it? I think $500 for the Pro ISO. They just dropped the price on that, so that's good. And then you got a couple $100 left, which you're going to need for things like cables, SD cards, hard drives, tripods, and it's stretching a little bit thin. Interesting thought experiment. Event Unlimited says, can you please quickly tell me how to record on SSD HD on ATEM ISO Extreme? If I'm not doing streaming, just record. Just press the record button, don't press the stream button. So super easy. The ATEM has two separate buttons for it. So record feature and streaming feature. They record and stream the same content. You only get one program. Like when you switch, it switches on both, and it's the same bit rate, but you can turn one on separately from the other. Do I think Blackmagic will bring out a PTZ camera? That's an interesting idea. They do. I think they will. I don't know, because they have a couple of cameras already, but I've never seen any PTZ stuff. It would be fun. It would be cool, but I don't know. Honestly, I would love to find a good PTZ head that's also like to work with the BGH1s. The irony of this is that the company that I bought all these from was trying to do exactly that, of have a totally remote control studio with BGH1s and a remote PTZ head, and then had a problem with the ones they were using, and it killed the whole project basically. So, oh, Christian says, don't forget a microphone in the $3,000. Interesting point. I was assuming that, and this is not always an assumption, a safe assumption, but in all the work that I was doing when I was doing live streaming and live production, I never had to worry about audio because it was always mixed by the house. So I would always have, we'd go into a conference venue or a stage or something, and they would have house sound, and I would just be like, hey, give me an XLR cable. So I never had to worry about miking people or wireless mics or any of that. I just said, give me the sound to pipe into the stream. So yes, if $3,000 really is your limit, try to find those gigs. Otherwise, you're going to have to spend a lot more on microphones and stuff too, because those add up fast too. Oh my God, this is getting out of control. Imagine a balloon suspended above the track with 2 kilometers of fiber to each car and some kind of cable management. Just imagining the cars running around the track, twisting this knot of fiber cables dangling from the sky. Fun fact, if the balloon is tethered with the cable, it doesn't count as a drone. So, not under the drone rules. What about Canon's PTZ versus BGH1? The new, I thought it was Sony's PTZ. Does Canon also have a PTZ camera? I thought it was Sony that just came out with the PTZ. Yeah, the amazingly expensive FR7 looks like an amazing camera and looks like a great option. It's not cheap at all. So yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not going to get one of these, but seems cool. No idea what kind of like software you use it with, but yeah, very cool camera. I didn't know if Canon has one. I don't know. Oh, they have the less fancy but also expensive. That's right. David Joshua Ford uses this one. N300, $2,700. Much more reasonable price, in my opinion. David Joshua Ford has one of these, or two, maybe just one. And it seems to work very well for him. I think that's a solid option for some folks, for sure. But I don't have one to play with, unfortunately. I'm a much more a fan of the $1,200 price point. All right, last couple questions here. Let's see if I can get to any more. One more advantage if you're swapping out your cameras, all your cameras have SDI out, and that SDI port is 3G, so it can only do 1080p anyway, which is perfect for exactly. I'm not doing 4K stuff. PhotoJoseph does do 4K, and he uses these cameras, but he runs HDMI out of the camera into a converter so he can get the 4K out, because they do 4K out the HDMI port, just not out the SDI. Do I know if there's any tethering app for the Sony cameras like for Panasonic? I've only seen the apps. I haven't looked for any desktop software for the Sony stuff, unfortunately. I like this idea. The hot air balloon could have all the wireless receivers in it, then produce the show from the air. This sounds like a great production. Put a streaming kit in a hot air balloon, bunch of wireless receivers at the bottom of the hot air balloon, and then you've got direct line of sight to all the cars, and you just produce the show flying over it. I love it. That is great. Do that and let me know how it goes. If it's a tethered drone, does it count? No, literally if it's tethered, it's not a drone. Like that's the definition by the FAA. If it's tethered to the ground, it's like a kite. It's not a drone. I think the theory is that it can't go very far and it can't run away. So you can always pull it back with a string. Okay. Well, I switched to editing my videos on DaVinci on my iPad. I would need to get a new iPad with the M2 chip. Honestly, probably not. I like the iPad for certain things. I don't think I like it for fine things that require fine motor control. I do like a mouse for that and a keyboard. Oh, Lily's here. She's about to start a stream, so we should go prep for that. I want to do this just because I've never been on a hot air balloon and will be your PA. That would be really fun. Eric says that I would pay full price to watch that. Okay. We're going to have to find an excuse to brings a whole new meaning to cloud streaming. Oh gosh. Yep. I think we're going to have to find an excuse to make that happen somehow. I don't know how that will work. But Lily's stream is starting in just a couple minutes. We are going to go redirect over to there. Her stream, which looks like is up and running, is all about how to budget when it's scary during a recession. So yeah, how to budget. My tip for how to budget is to find deals on people selling brand new in-box gear at used prices. And yeah, so if you do want a BGH1, go find that affiliate link for eBay. And they still have some left. So let's see what they're up to. There we go. They're counting down now. Got 9 left. So that's great. That is great. 3 sold in an hour. Thank you all very much. I hope you enjoy the cameras as much as I have been. And with that was fun. Yeah, I think that's it for today. That was a lot of questions at the end. It was fun. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for tuning in every week and joining me on this adventure, whatever this is. We will be back next week and chatting probably about BGH1s again. And that will be, what is it, the day before Halloween? So I need to get more pumpkins and more orange things to put in here for next week. And then, yeah, see how it goes. Thanks for the super chats, and we will see you all over on Lily's stream very shortly as soon as we wrap this up. And I'll drop a link in the chat just in case your YouTube doesn't auto redirect. All right, bye everybody. See ya.